chances are you might not know his face, but for millions of morning radio fans, his voice is instantly recognizable. Elvis Duran is the go-to radio host for the inside scoop on celebrities. He shies away from the crass, crazy shock jock routine, but he's not afraid to give us his uncensored take on the best and worst of Hollywood. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Dan Harris.
It's one of the biggest nights in music, Jingle Ball at Madison Square Garden. And right in the thick of it, rubbing shoulders with stars like Taylor Swift, Iggy Azalea, Pharrell, is Elvis Duran. He might not be as slick as Ryan Seacrest or as salacious as Howard Stern, but he sits astride the #1 most popular top 40 morning radio show in America.
Let's go say hi to Natalie. Hi, Natalie. What's up?
He is a magnet for the boldest of the bold-faced names. In a morning radio universe where many of the biggest players are deliberately obnoxious shock jocks,
The real Mariah was so there, and you wanted to
The real Mariah was so not there.
Elvis Duran shot to fame while breaking that mold entirely. When you think about morning zoo radio, generally you think of a couple of guys urging women to take their shirts off.
Yes.
Your show is helmed by an openly gay man. Your two top lieutenants are strong women.
Yeah.
And you're actually pretty nice to each other.
One of our rules for the show, I guess the filter we try to pass everything through, is it's a safe place for women to be. When Kim Kardashian's rear end pictures came out, I came on the air and said, hey, you know what? This is a great time for us to celebrate the booty.
And it's that blend of naughty and nice that has, for years, proved irresistible to listeners in more than 80 markets.
Now, sometimes that person you're interviewing actually gives from their heart. Ed Sheeran, for instance. Excellent.
Wow.
Sang a song, and at the end of the song, I could feel what he was feeling when he wrote the song, and I started crying. To me, that's the world's best interview.
Recently, in a bit of a role reversal, Elvis agreed to be the one answering questions as he invited Nightline to spend some time with him behind the scenes.
Have you been to my office before?
I was here once.
We do have a drinking problem.
Do the guests have a little nip before they go on?
Yeah, absolutely. If a guest seems a little nervous, we'll offer them a shot of something. Do you need something? I got a phone tap coming up next.
We met the whole cast, familiar voices to the 7 million daily listeners. There's the mother of two, Danielle, the single girl, Bethany, and a whole menagerie of merry characters with names like Skiri, Greg T, and Carla Marie.
I love this.
All contributing to the exuberance. Things are only slightly more subdued when a big star arrives. We were there for singer Mary J. Blige.
Thank you for having me, Elvis.
Today with Elvis was like, it was a blessing. It was just, wow. It was amazing. And he's amazing. This beautiful, happy, positive spirit.
While Elvis may be cozy with A-listers, he does not mind sharing his candid take. So I'll name some names. You tell me your first thoughts. Mariah Carey.
Fun, interesting, complex, beautiful, and I think she's lonely. And I'm making assumptions here, I know, but I think she needs us as friends. We should go over now and hang out with her. I really do.
Katy Perry.
She was late for our show one day. I sent my assistant downstairs to tell her not to come up. Tell her when she's on time, she could be on our show. The next day, she showed up early, and she gave us a great interview. She's fantastic. Love her.
Who was his worst interview ever? Elvis pulls no punches.
Usher, one of the most talented people in music. He was just in a bad mood one day when we interviewed him. I was watching the text messages from our listeners roll by as we were talking to him, and they were not being very kind. They're saying, get this guy off the air. He's very insulting.
And so you did it. You actually cut.
We thanked him. I politely thanked him, and we ended the interview.
While his professional life is undeniably fabulous, off-air Elvis is decidedly down to earth. His longtime boyfriend, Alex Carr, is a zookeeper. And on most nights, he's more comfortable at home on the couch than out at the club. You're surrounded by all these glamorous celebrities, but in your personal life, are you hobnobbing with A-listers?
No, not at all. I'm not a glamorous person at all. And when we are invited to these glamorous events, I just don't fit in. I feel really weird. It's uncomfortable.
Part of his shyness, he admits, is due to his insecurity about his weight.
I haven't seen my penis. Can you see my penis and describe it to me?
More seriously, Elvis says he's actually been shy since he was a kid, growing up in suburban Dallas.
I didn't have a lot of friends that I hung out with on a day-to-day basis. And I turned to the radio as my friend.
He got his first DJ gig as a teen and started his now famous morning show 18 years ago. At first, the ratings were bad until he and his co-hosts started opening up and talking about their personal lives.
We need to learn how to show people who we are so they're comfortable with us. They trust us.
Intense and a little frightening.
That trust grew even deeper after his famous marathon broadcast on the day after 9/11, where all he did was take calls from stunned New Yorkers.
I just sat down at the board, put on my headphones, and started taking phone calls. Hello, Z100, who is this? My dad didn't come home last night. He worked in World Trade Center, and his name is, whatever his name is, and if you hear from him, let him know we're waiting for him at home. All right, the message is out there, thank you. Boom. That was that's when I learned that radio is very important. And I decided to stick with it that day.
Welcome to the show. Tell us about your experience in these.
Despite his insistence on authenticity on the air, it wasn't until 2010 that Elvis decided to reveal one of the most personal aspects of his own life.
I never was closeted, but I just never wanted it to be the Elvis Duran is gay show. And then I realized one day, if I want to be honest, I need to be talking about my life and my dating life and what it's like for me. And that's when I just came out and said, here I am. There was no big fanfare. There was no hate mail. There was no anything. It was like, oh, you're gay, great. What else?
Happy birthday, Elvis. How old is he?
Happy birthday.
Hey, Elvis, happy birthday. You're 50?
So now that he's 50, what's next for the man the Huffington Post called the most important radio DJ in the country? He's thinking about doing more TV, maybe even a reality show. But for now,
Chim Chim Cheree.
Elvis is comfortable doing what he's always done, sitting in the studio, leading sing-alongs,
Harm someone.
and cracking up with his friends.
In radio, we have no script. We have things, we have ideas written down, but
You guys have no idea what you're doing.
we really don't. But if we knew what we were doing, we wouldn't be the same show.
For Nightline, this is Dan Harris in New York.